fun. We're bringing the thunder. We are Funder. Flesh and blood, down under. What episode is this? Oh, I actually don't know.
30-something.
It is 30-something?
It's 30-something. Because I started episode 20 was season 2, episode 1. And now it's definitely episode 11 or 12 in season 2. Season 2 started in Worlds.
Right, Outsiders. Alchemist or Merchant?
Neither.
Whoa, really?
Well, James said it's physical damage blocking type heroes. Alchemist would feel way cooler if it was arcane. Because it's like chemicals, you know?
What about a Merchant, though?
Merchant is UPF. For sure.
Look, I just think, how can
By the way, it would be sick if we see an alchemist. Don't get me wrong, but I think we're not going to see one.
Look, all jokes aside, like the way my brain works is, how can you have this underground pits, dodginess, without some sort of an arms dealer, a merchant
because
of types?
They're the outsiders that we're seeing, not not the pits people. Maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
Because remember, the pits is like full of like evil people. Azalea is actually quite evil. She's done a lot of bad shit.
Arachne's no saint, but...
Well, that's the real debate, actually. Do we see Arachne or do we see another assassin? That's the big thing. It's irrelevant that Arachne is in the art of the spoiler.
But Arachne is... Species is a spider, right?
That's the group
The group.
Arachne's from. The spider is like the group of assassins.
Yeah. So it could be part of that group.
Well, it could be
but
Arachne,
not
maybe it's
Arachne.
not one person. It's just the same costume.
Yeah.
That's why they're referred to as they, because maybe there's...
Well, do all the spiders wear that costume?
No idea. Someone that knows more about the lore. I think, based on what we saw in Everfest... No, Everfest? When did we get Icelander to begin with?
Everfest. Young Icelander.
I think what they've done is they've gone, here's the assassin, get some cards for it, but it's going to be Arachne in the next set. Same as Icelander. It's just... Because I don't feel like they're putting a hero in a supplementary or an expansion set as a release.
But the thing is, we didn't get an adult Icelander in Everfest. We only
No,
got a
but I
young.
think that's maybe they were worried about adult Icelander. They weren't ready. The thing we don't see, which we got to speak with the devs at Worlds, is sometimes shit's not ready.
Yeah.
Like they go... remember, the cutoff date's probably 6 months before they print. It's not ready. So they go, what is ready is Icelander and Blitz. Here's Icelander and Blitz, but they already knew they would release Icelander adult, and they had more time to test this way. And maybe they were worried about, I mean, they didn't know Stava was so broken, but...
Do you think we're going to get 4 heroes?
Yes. Well, they've confirmed that.
When?
2 times. One is the pre-order for the Blitz decks is 4.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, and the sleeves. So there's 4 sleeves, 4 Blitz decks.
Yeah.
Which is cool, by the way.
But it's not a hard confirm from LSS.
No,
it's just
but
a
the
bit
other
of
one
fact-finding.
is... No, well, it is because... Although he didn't say 4 heroes, James was like, we're going back to WTR-style draft.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be 3.
But he's a big fan of 3 heroes.
No, but
for
that's
draft.
why it's relevant, because it was during that conversation. He was like, but I'm a big fan of 3. But we're going back to WTR style. Which, by the way, in and of itself, a rotation of 4 hero draft set, 3 hero draft set, talented draft set, whatever they want to do there is actually interesting too, because maybe I hate the Uprising style draft, but I love the WTR style draft. Well, once a year I get to play a format I like. Do you know what I mean? That's good as well. You don't want to stick to one thing.
Do you think something comes out of left field and we just get like a Necromancer or something? Probably not, because a Necromancer probably do arcane damage.
I think this Lena Bell is a bait. She's an alchemist.
Yeah.
I think she's bait. I think she's not in this set.
I saw...
People are like, oh, but they're in the art, they're in the set. I'm like, how many times have we seen stuff in the lore and the art and they're not in the set?
You know the Cavdine card art?
There's a green
Yeah, there's a green head with green hair and people saying, is that Lena Bell? And then I looked at it and I'm like, shit, is that Lexi? Is that Lexi's head sitting on his wall?
What color hair does Dash have? It's red, isn't
Yeah, it's definitely not Dash. But people were speculating that Cavdine just has Lena Bell sitting on his... I would love to see some adult type Cavdine merchant.
I'm all for it.
Especially now that we have
but
gold.
I think the reason you won't see it is this stuff is building for... Well, UPF already, you play merchants.
Yeah.
They're quite fun. But I think it's all building to PvE, which will be Blitz. Like Blitz decks. Because casual format, I don't think you're going to have sideboard and stuff. I think it's going to be... And look, will you ever see an adult merchant? Maybe. It'll be like a promo for a trade show or something. But why? Like...
Why not? I think it'd be a cool CC class.
I'm not saying it won't be, but I don't think they're testing it as a competitive. Remember, they run $1 million price support a year for pro play. That's the focus. So I don't like if you see a merchant, it's because it fits, it makes sense competitively, not because they want to please the masses as well.
I've heard there's a very old video of James White versing Matt Rogers in a game of Blitz.
And he was Cavdane.
And geez, apparently he gave Matt a run for his money.
Oh, yeah. And Matt was on Dory or something, like a real deck.
So, like Cavdane, what? Is that saying like Cavdane with the little bit of support might be actually playable?
Remember at the time, there weren't many cards in the game.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm just thinking with a little bit of support.
So Cavdane still had E-Strike and stuff. Like the most powerful cards were still some generics. There wasn't a lot of merchant support, but also Dory with the current equipment. Like,
I guess my point is maybe James's vision was that Cavdane's simply not some UPF
this
hero.
was a very casual event. If that's what it was there. What was it? It was a blitzathon, like a marathon stream.
Yeah.
By the way, go check that out. I'll find it and link it below if I remember.
I haven't watched it personally.
It's really cool to watch.
I heard it's good.
Yeah.
So what was your... Okay, so this will be the last episode everyone watching for the year for 2022. We've had a massive year. It's been good. We got nominated for the Speedy Awards. We came second. Damn, that's pretty good.
I think it's rigged.
I think it's rigged.
I paid a lot of pin. I didn't pay anyone to vote.
Well, that was really good. So thanks, Flake, for putting on that on. Thanks, everyone, for voting. So obviously people like what we're doing.
I'm going to call someone out here.
Yep.
You can't run the thing and then take an award. So I watched that video all the way through, and then Flake won an award at the end. Like,
what was that for?
I don't know. I don't even remember. I clicked off the video. I found it so corny I couldn't keep watching.
Was that community?
I don't know. It's just weird.
Okay. I didn't watch...
like if I run a giveaway on my channel, you better believe I'm not in the giveaway. I'm going to run a competition. Sorry, Flake. Love you, bro. You cannot be anywhere near it.
We want a response, Flake.
You can't be anywhere... You can't be near you can't take an award at the end of your show and then like self-congratulate. And then what did he say?
I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
He goes, I'm going to gift this to the community. I'm like, bro, you can't win your own award show, man.
But what happens if... obviously he got the most votes, right? I don't think
you shouldn't be... You're not an option, mate.
Oh, so he removed himself from the list.
I don't know. He should definitely not be winning awards in his own award show. I love Flake. He probably deserves an award. He deserves many awards. You got to let other people give you awards. It's not how. That's not how awards work.
Yeah, I see your point. But I guess maybe
best looking fab YouTuber. I'm going to do one on my channels. Watch who wins.
maybe he didn't. I don't know. Maybe not enough thought was put into it. But I think it was a good thing for the community to get behind. I think it was.
I think it's right in, so people just wrote in Flake.
Yeah.
But what you do in an award show is if you have I think they had 200-300 votes. If you got 300 votes and no one got any, fine. But you got 80 and then the person under you got 60. Give it to the person under you. You don't even mention that you won because you're running the award. That's... Love you, Flake, but no.
So that's how John would run it. That's how John... So
not how I would run. I remember, I can compartmentalize. I was watching that as a fan. I was very interested to see what people voted on, especially because we're in it as well. As a fan, I felt that was cringy.
Okay.
Wait,
I need to watch it.
You can't win. Like, Carolina's won twice. She deserves it. I can imagine many people voting for her. Do I think Red Zone Rogue... why am I having a mental blank? Living Legends podcast.
Yeah, Living Legends, yeah.
Do I think they're a better podcast? They definitely have a bigger audience than us. I can understand. The reason I think ours is better is we still do the in-person. Ours is very unique. And the fact that we came second with 600 subs compared to channels with over 10,000 speaks volumes for our product.
Yeah.
But I wasn't surprised that we didn't win.
Yeah, no, either was I.
We're also newer and our channels are much less established. I think we fill a niche there. But do you get what I mean? So I was watching as a fan. I was like, this is sick. What do people like? What are the WA boys? They should have won an award.
Yeah, they're really good.
Over.
We make
That's
best.
my highlight
Very
of the
good.
year.
Yeah, we make
need
best.
to get
very
them
good.
on.
Oh, yeah. When we have a calling this year.
We need to get them on.
Yeah, that'd be good.
People from WA will generally come to Sydney on occasion. I don't know who they are. I don't know them from the trade pages. I don't know. I'm sure I've probably interacted with them.
I just heard that one or two of them are or maybe still current, but very hot, quite competent Magic players. Have been in the Magic Perth scene for some time. That's what I've been told.
Yeah, I know we're going on a tangent, but I'm genuinely impressed with their channel.
So we're talking about We Make Best.
You have to subscribe.
They're a really good up and coming YouTube.
I don't think they're very good. I think they're the best YouTube channel right now for Flesh and Blood.
Yeah,
and I love Sloop's content. I love a lot of the content. Dice Commander, DMMI. I watch all of it.
Same.
Well, not all the time, not all of it, because I physically don't have the time. But We Make Best. I see your video, I insta-click.
The only thing We Make Best, can we just get off filthy Kano? Oh God, just give me another hero, boys.
Mind you, on that, let's talk about that. That's the flavor of the month right now. Hayden's made a video, even got comments from James White. It's good. It's good. Do you know why it's good? People in the Fab universe, so easy to beat. If Kano becomes meta, you just put Oasis in your deck and you'll be fine.
Well, even that. If you're going into ProQuest season and you're not packing AB3, you need to...
No, I won't, but I'm also happy to lose to Kano because I'm not expecting a high turnout.
But how much do you usually run AB?
2. So I'm bringing my 2.
So you wouldn't even go up by 1?
I don't have the slots.
You can't make room for 1 AB?
There's no point on Dory. If I have to pitch a blue every time, I'm finished.
Okay.
I'm dead.
Right.
So I run Jubil, which doesn't seem to work. I just got to race Kano.
Well, Jubil doesn't work? I thought that's...
too slow.
Yeah, okay.
So Jubil, I have to hit you to get 1 spell fray, 1 spell void, right? Which is very powerful. The problem is sometimes I've only got to attack you twice by the time you kill me. So I'm running the entire weapon to get 1 extra AB into your combo. It seems smarter to just put Oasis in the deck. At least there's 3 of them.
Do you think Briar will hit Living Legend status this ProQuest season?
Flavor of the month? I don't think so. I think everyone's on the Dash train. So you just... because I think... I wish I was better at maths to tell you statistically, but I feel like there's the representation problem, right? So I don't think Starvo was unbeatable. It was very strong, but then it was very overrepresented. So it won everything because it was literally 50% Starvo. So just mathematically, if you got a computer to play all the matches with variance, mathematically, you're probably going to get Starvos at the top.
Do you think there is a best deck at the moment, or do you think we're in a meta whereby...
I don't think there's a best deck.
Yeah, either do I.
There's a lot of very good decks.
Yeah.
Dory's not one of them. Dory's still in that very good. I think Dory's like B tier. In the right hand, it's an A tier. Specialists will play that deck very well. I like to think of myself as one. That's why I perform well on it. Just the reps, like compared to most people. But Dash was already good. It was winning callings. Now it's better. Icelander's not had any bans. It's very good. Kano's very good in the right hand. Same thing. It's probably like a B tier deck. In the right hands, it's S tier.
Fi's still good.
Fi's still will kill you in 2 turns. Briar will still... Viserai is good.
Oldham's good. Oldham's still good.
None of these decks have had like a big...
Yeah.
Like none of them... Like Arachne didn't come and like counter one of these decks out of existence. There's no Prism. There's no more Prism.
Arachne's a bit of a hard counter into Dash, right? Surely. No. It isn't, is it? Have you got...
Well, it doesn't matter if they're banishing your card. Okay.
Doesn't it just speed up the mill clock?
I'm not a true OG, but my understanding is back in Arcane Rising days and Crew days, you could block Dash out.
Yeah.
But they have Pounder now. They have stuff that get like...
You can still block Dash out.
No, you can't.
I saw Brent do it on Friday night. He just fatigued Dash, no problem.
Or CC?
CC.
Oh, but on Reiner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just fatigued it. No problem.
Maybe I'm just... This is full ball boost.
Yeah, full ball boost. And from the very first attack, he blocked.
Don't tell me who they were playing against because I'm going to talk shit about him. But that person didn't pivot. See, Dash, you can pivot. You can
mid-game.
You slow the fuck down.
Right.
Like so we talked about this. Remember, Roy, Hayden, all these really high-end players.
I'll give you a hint. Tick up the tunic.
Well, irrespective of who, we know from pro players, you need to recognize what the other person's plan is. Oh, they're blocking me out. I need to stop boosting. I need to start shooting my pistol.
Nah, his pedal was to the metal.
You know,
it didn't come off.
But that deck is not that good. That full, like, someone tried it against me in an armory too. Like, just full bore. I had fucking 9 counters. What are you doing? You got to block me at some point, buddy. They're just trying to get the Habibi blaster off. But that's a trap. Every time Hayden's beat me, and he's beat me every time I've played him, when he's playing Dash, he does not shoot the blaster. He had it to 4 or 5 counters too. He's like, no, I'm only going to use it when I can kill you with it.
I'd really like to play Hayden. Not saying that I'm a great player, but this month's, because you know how a lot of the armories here have switched to CC, so I've been playing a couple of armories every week with Briar, and I've been playing Dash at least once per armory. I haven't lost to it yet. I haven't lost to it yet. But I don't think I've played against someone quite at Hayden. Well, I definitely haven't played a Hayden level player yet.
Yep.
So I'd really like to play against someone like Hayden to see if Briar's actually got game into Dash.
Well, I think Briar's high roll potential is probably twice as high as Dash's, right? Like, when it comes to it, Dash is probably more consistent. Like, Dash's brick hands are just yellows and blues that still hit you. Some of them force you to block with armor. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not crap. They just deal less damage.
I had a real good high roll, so I was at Carvel Cafe. I played against Zachary, and he's on Dash, and he just got off to a lightning ball start. Right, he's smashing the shit out of me. He finishes his turn. He's on like 32, and I'm holding a channel mount in hand, and I go down to 17. And I'm like, how do I come back against Dash, right? He just doesn't block for the rest of the game and just smashes me, right? He's 32 to 17. I go, geez, Paul, not only do I need a massive channel mount turn this, I need them.
You need to draw.
I need to draw.
Snappies and everything.
Holy shit, did I fucking high roll him. I felt so sorry for him. So channel mount landed, played out that turn, drew another channel mount, played out that channel mount, put the other one away, played out another channel mount. 3 turns in a row, I had one channel mount out, 2 channel mount out.
What, +6, +9 for the turn?
Out. Yeah, it was fucking nuts. 2 turns in a row, I had 2 channel mounts out, and it was like, even if I block with 2 cards, I'm still going 10, 10.
Yeah.
20 damage off a 2-card hand? I was like, what the... I just said to him, when I drew the fucking 3rd channel, I said, gee, Zach, sorry, mate. And yeah, But
that's what I'm saying. That's why you have game. Is, again, if the pool is 50% Briar, 50% Dash, let's say, give it a number, they're both 70 power decks, right? The difference is Briar can roll into a 140 power deck. Dash can't. Like, Dash can get lucky, hit the items, banish some blues, play some reds, right? But they don't double, triple their power. While Briar, like, with the right turn, is like 8 attacks with channel mount. You know what I mean?
I occasionally have had 2 channel mounts in one turn, but I've never had double channel mount 2 turns in a row off the back of a single channel mount the turn before that.
Yeah.
I've never had that before. So
I had a high roll
felt so good
experience as well. Unfortunately, into a new player. And I was like, do not try and learn anything from this moment at all. This is not how my deck usually looks. Just accept it. I think I had counters already. I had a Pride out, the aura that gives me a counter.
What were you playing against?
Dory into Dash, I think.
Into Dash, yeah.
I was definitely on the back foot that game. Then I went Supremacy, Sharpen Steel, Determination, so Dominate. So it came in for 12 Dominate. Draw a card on hit. Then it was 9 Dominate, draw a card on hit, drew a twinning. Drew a twinning off the first hit, so I could give the second. Oh, and I had a glint on the first swing. So I hit, draw off, glint to give it go again, draw off the hit, drew a twinning. So it gave the second attack 9 Dominate. Twinning, go again with refractions, again 9 Dominate. So it was 31 or 32 Dominate turn off 3 attacks.
Jeez.
Like 10 Dominate is not actually blockable in the game unless you have like a unmovable and a sync, but it wouldn't have mattered because I have a twinning blade anyway. Like if he had double D reacted the first attack, the 12 Dominate, and got it blocked, it just would have. Anyway, it's silly.
Do they have any armor?
Irrelevant. No one has that much armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so when I made my deck tech video, I was explaining there's 3 cards in my deck. If you try and play them in the correct order, which is also why I only run 1 of one, 2 of the other, and 3 of the third, is you don't want to see them in the wrong order. So you want, like, Pride is irrelevant. If you see it early, play it. If you don't want to draw it late game. And then if you see you want a glistening turn, get some counters, and then you want to see a determination as soon after. Because once your Dawnblade's 5, if it's now 6 dominate for the rest of the turn, plus all your D reacts. Like, yeah, they can block 6, but what they can't do is throw 12 at it.
So when are you and Phil going to have the showdown? So just to let everyone know, John did a deck tech on his channel, Fluke and Box, and Philip Mackay, Philpsy, did a Doric deck tech on his channel. It was like a battle off. And I presume now you guys are actually going to do a face off.
The thing with Philpsy, right?
Is that what you're going to do? Are you guys going to battle this
that
out?
little weasel Frenchman.
Wee.
I call him. I go, Phil. Our video is 1.8k views, which is quite good for my channel. I don't do a lot of player content. It's above average. Okay, people obviously like the deck tech. The problem is the video had shit audio. The deck's not very good. So I want to remake it. But I go, we don't even agree on how to play Dory right now. So we should do separate videos, link to each other, but use the same thumbnail mirrored, which is what I did. And then let people have 2 decks to play. It ended up being 3. He did a Dawnblade and a Dagger one. He goes, yeah, that's a great idea. I go, let's do that, and then we can maybe make a Dromai one, because I'm also I want to play around with deck building a bit more, because I'm getting there. I'm starting. This Dory list is all me. Like, it's using inspiration, but I haven't, like, copied this one. This one I've tweaked, because everyone's playing CC. I've had chance to test. I never said we're going to roast each other, and I never said we're going to do a showdown. He just took it upon himself. So, yes, there'll be a showdown in the car park at Engadine Macca's. I don't know. We will probably have to film. I think I'll film it here on the table, do the top-down view, play on
It'll be good in paper.
Yeah. Maybe have you here. You can ref. You can commentate, like live commentary.
I'd love that. I would love that.
It'll be fun, but I think we just do the 2 more decks. So I guess January, do a Dromai deck. I'm trying to think of what other class. Maybe we'll do something a bit like, I'll do a Reinhard deck and he can do something crazy, and then.
You know what's really hot at the moment, and I wonder if Philpsy and all them are going to pivot back. I played against Ice Lexi on Friday, and I think she's in a good spot.
Well, into decks like Briar and
Dash,
she can lock you out.
Fire.
She can lock you out. Ice Vein fused, Amulets fused, discard or pay. But just the fact that you have to pay means you can't have a big turn.
Yeah. It put me in the most awkward positions.
You can still win, though.
I couldn't. Once they got tempo, I couldn't get it back, because every time I felt like I had a decent hand, I had to freaking discard something or do. It was so oppressive.
I streamed some Dory gameplay. I went 7-2. One of the matches, I swear the Ice Lexi was on like 2 health and I was on 20. And then I nearly lost.
Whoa.
Just in a row. Just Channel Lake, make Frostbites, discard or pay, again.
I played against
know what I mean?
I played against the other Frenchman. So there's 3 Frenchmen in our group team.
Yeah,
we got Remy, we got
Way
Phil,
too many.
and we got way too many. And bloody Adrian, he pumped me. He had I talk about Lexi.
Yeah.
Her ceiling is so freaking high.
Yeah.
That's
why Yuki does so well.
Dude.
She plays it a lot.
Art of War, Rain Razor, 3 of the kind, all in 1 turn, plus that.
And then if you draw that...
Plus the +3 to your next arrow, dominate. Holy shit. When they're doing Art of War, drawing 2 cards, 3 of a kind, 3, Rain Razor, every arrow gets +3. I swear that was like a 30+ damage turn.
Easy.
Can
I tell you what's worse? Azalea.
Really?
Much worse.
Okay. I haven't played against Azalea in a while.
Well, Azalea's like big cards will just say... So it'll be +3, dominate. Sometimes it's... +3 on hit, destroy your arsenal, dominate from Azalea's ability, right? And also maybe Dreadbore, so you can't play D-reacts from arsenal, like just degenerate. But then on hit, You can do one action on your turn. Doesn't say lose, go again. One action. Try playing Briar when you could take one action. Doesn't matter if you have 10 action points. You're only allowed to use one. That lightning token you saved up because you were going to have a big turn? Nope. Can't even pitch your cards away because it's you can only pitch into one thing. Yeah, it's not fun.
It's not, but like, yeah, that turn, it's like, yeah, every arrow gets +4. You know, 1 off the Art of War, 3 off the Rain Razors. It's like, what the hell?
I think Lexi's actually harder to block against than Dory, knowing what hits to take, what not to take, because you will take hits, so you have to decide. You have to be able to see your hand and go, you know what? I'm going to get 4 Frostbites. I'm going to block for value, like just block for 12, and then let the Frostbites pop and try and, you know what I mean? You can get greedy, but you think, oh, no, my 4 cards in Arsenal, I can kill him, but then he'll make 4 Frostbites. How do you play around 4 Frostbites?
Well, yeah, and I guess my point is I didn't find that match intuitive. Like, to me, it seems like the match, you need reps. Out. You need reps. Like you said, you have to understand how to block, and the only way to understand how to block that deck effectively is to get some reps into it. It's not, I don't find it like intuitive, like playing against like whatever, another deck of fire.
Like Reinhardt. It's not, no one hits. It's like, oh, it's coming in for 12. What can I do?
You're playing, fairly face up, even against Dash. I find that pretty intuitive
Dash
how to block. Intuitive. But something like Lexi, you know, there's a lot of decision points on their turn for you to make. But that's why
these decks are what should scare you more. Like, yeah, Dash is annoying to play into. He's very aggressive. Sure. But you can high roll Dash and the game's over. But a good Lexi player who's pitch stacked a bit, blocked you out, and then just knows they can lock you out for 4 turns in a row now. They've set up some amulets. Man, you're not getting through that. And if you don't have the reps, because no one really, like, there's not as many Lexi players as Dash, as an example, you're more likely to fuck up. You're more likely to block incorrectly once. You block and then they Rain Razors, and then you're like, oh, right? Shit.
What's been your highlight of 2022? I know we've both had some pretty rough year, personally. Yeah. It's been pretty rough.
Yeah. It's nearly over. Next.
But fab-wise, what's been the highlight?
Probably doing so well at Pro Tour.
Yeah.
I think I earned some respect as a player, which was good.
Definitely. You know, top 32 on your first Pro Tour was very impressive. Very impressive.
1 win from a PTI, which this year, I'll get one this year.
So performing at Lille, that was your highlight?
For Fab, yeah, for sure. Also, like, my confidence going in, because we'd just come from Singapore. I did not do well in Singapore. So I tweaked the deck.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the draft was crap, but then 3 wins in a row, then into Oldham, whatever, lose to Oldham. Same draft again, crap draft, 3 in a row. I'm like, man, if I 4-0 this CC, I'm like, I mean, I knew I'd cashed, and I was joking. I think Nick Butcher was around like,
well, you cashed twice this year.
Yes.
That's pretty
Sydney
good.
Calling.
Yeah.
Sydney Calling was fun to cash, but it's much smaller than like a Pro Tour cash.
Yeah, but you still
they're proper pro players that didn't cash at Pro Tour. They dropped for the Battle Hardener. You know what I mean? There's some very renowned players that outperformed on Dory. Obviously, some matchup luck. It's not all me. Now, if you put me back, I can 8-0 that. I finally have got my head around the older matchup, which now no one plays again. Well, I mean, I think that's the good part about Dash being in the meta is Dash doesn't struggle into Oldham as much as other aggro decks. So Dash could just play, like, I think Dash could nearly fatigue Oldham, like with the right pistol. So I think that's how you can play into Oldham. It's like, what are you gonna do into 4 pistol shots for 3? Like, what do you do?
Yeah,
you're gonna take damage, and if you block them, the Dash hasn't actually expended any cards. They've just pitched 2 blues, loaded for the next turn. It's impossible. I think that's the deck we'll see. I think before Pro Tour, before Outsiders, we'll see bans for Dash.
Is that the next ban restricted announcement?
I think so.
Is when Outsiders drops or before Outsiders?
There's always one when a set drops.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised to see some Dash. I don't know what they'd ban because it's not obviously overpowered.
Yeah.
But it's the same as the Prism problem where the deck had 2 game plans and they're both S tier. Like Heralds into decks with no poppers is S tier, like 20 damage a turn consistently, even with blues. But you could Erudition draw to one of them's also an Erudition, pummel it, like it's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the Aura plan into anything that had D-reacts or poppers, which was S tier. If you could make 2 Auras a turn for 2 turns in a row, the game's over.
Yeah, Prism had...
Dash feels like that, where Dash can out-aggro an aggro deck, and it can fatigue a fatigue deck.
Yeah, I see what your point
Well, like decks like Dory, like Reiner, like Bolton, like Azalea, they have one plan. They can't play 2. You can't pivot entirely off your sideboard. Like Dory, I can put D-reacts and stuff and be more defensive, but I still have one weapon that is really viable and one game plan, and the cards are not like... don't synergize with the other game plan. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't...
Bolton can do 2 different game plans. Sabres and Raiden are quite distinct, but not as distinct as, say, Dash can do 2 game plans within one game even. Yes. And Prism's 2 game plans are very distinct. Auras, like hardball Auras and balls to the wall Heralds, it's like 2 different decks.
But they're in the same deck. It's just what are you pitching? What are you playing?
Yeah.
That's the problem. Look, again, I'm no expert. This is my impression. People like Hayden, like Phil, that have more of a deck building mind, probably don't see the problems I see because they've solved more of them. But I feel like Dash is just... I'll give an example, like Harpoon. So usually you just block out Dash or you take the raw damage and hit him back. Now they go boost, boost, boost. Sorry, double boost. The third attack is Harpoon.
Mm-hmm.
They get to look at 3 cards in your hand. Well, unfortunately for me,
they get a card.
All my deck is either reactions or non-attack actions. And non-attack actions they can force me to block with. But they happen to be my most powerful cards. So they see a glistening, they go, oh yeah, block with that. Or they see a blue Warrior's Valor or a potion. They force you to block with a potion. It's a non-attack action. But I only draw 1 blue a hand, maybe. I can't afford to run. So what happens is I'll have tempo, I'll have counters, I'll have a 20 life advantage. It's all irrelevant because they just steal tempo off 1 card. Like for Dora to steal tempo, it's not 1 card. Like I have to throw my entire armor at you in a lot of cases to keep tempo. One card.
Would you consider changing up the composition in your deck if you thought that Harpoon was that much of
You can't.
A kryptonite?
You can't because it's a... Look, again, people... The truth is...
You can't
look at it in my lens because I'm the one insisting on playing Dory. Like
you can get some 0 blocks in there, then they can't take those.
They can. You can block with a potion. Doesn't block for anything, but the Harpoon can force you to block. What does Harpoon say?
Can it?
Armor value less than the amount of boost.
Yeah, but what happens if there's nothing there? Like a Amulet of Earth. They can't grab that, can they?
Pretty sure.
Really?
Because it's technically a zero block. Same as you can block.
I thought you just can't block with a 0 block. I thought you couldn't even block with a 0
Hey,
block.
maybe I'm wrong, but that hasn't been the issue. Singing Steelblade Supremacy, Ironsong Determination, all my very strong cards are non-attack actions that he can force me to block with. You know?
Are you looking forward to drafting again? You mentioned draft then for Lille, and we had a lot of fun drafting Uprising here.
I'm especially a four card set, a 4 hero set. We're gonna draft it. It's irrelevant whether I'm gonna enjoy it. I have no idea if I'll.
Are you missing draft? I guess that's my question.
Yeah. It was fun. My issue is, I already know 2 of the heroes in the set, and I'm not that like. I definitely don't want to draft a ranger. Like, I have no interest in drafting a ranger. because it's another hero that has a weapon that doesn't attack, which is already my big fucking problem with the Uprising draft. Was one hero has a weapon and the other two don't. So one hero can block with 3, pitch, swing weapon, get value, cycle, while the other two heroes are like the brick hands are no damage turns. Like Icelander Dromite could have no damage turns, while Fire just needed a card to pitch.
So we're getting Assassin and Ranger. That's what you mean. They're the two confirmed.
I mean, they seem... Azalea's confirmed, actually. We've seen an Assassin card, so we're assuming there's an Assassin.
There'll be an Assassin because it's a draftable set. So Ranger, Assassin...
Both play off the top.
Yep.
So if that's the theme, Mechanologist makes sense. So does Brute. That's how I look at it, because Brute will always play off the top. Draw this card, draw this card. That's what Brutes do. It's always draw this card. So, Arachne can opt and leave a none 6 at the top. That kind of thing, right? Or banish your 6s. Like, I think that makes sense.
Brute would be cool. Brute would be very cool.
Was only, Brute hasn't had any limelight.
Well, there's only one generic Brute for CC.
But a full set with Brute support might just be a catalyst for those both other... Forget whatever's in the set. Reiner... by the way, there was a lot of Brute support in Dynasty that seems pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just... It hasn't quite pushed Levia and Reiner into... But again, I think that's also...
I think Reiner's a good option for CC if you know how to pilot the deck. For example, our mutual friend, he's still trying to work out Reiner and CC because he doesn't like the play style
of setup
of the decks that have been doing well. So even though certain people have been winning with Reiner, he just doesn't like the way that deck plays.
There's more RNG than he would like, maybe.
Less.
Yeah, he wants to do the... Here's what's funny.
He wants more
RNG.
RNG.
Stuff. So, Jason Chung was like, only way you play Brute is you roll Scabbies every turn. And you accept the times you roll 1, because you should roll 6s as many times, and the 6 counteracts the 1. And in a long game, on average, you'll... Now, unfortunately, sometimes you roll the 1 at a very pivotal point, and sometimes you roll a 6 when you can't actually use them, right? But on average, you just get 2 action points. On average, you get 2 action points. 5 times out of 6, you're fine. And 3 times out of 6 is more than 1 action point, right?
Yeah.
6, 5, 4. So 50% of the time, you get go again. And 5 out of 6 times, you just play as normal, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think you got to lean into it, because that deck really pops off when it pops off. With the new cards too, the drawing cards, instead of discarding them, it's got a lot of fatigue proof now with the what's that card called? Reincarnate. It's a pretty good CC card because you will always have something in your deck.
So what? So just say speculative. You're thinking a Ranger, Assassin, a Brute, and then X, something.
Mech.
A mech. Okay.
Well, there's only one CC mech, so it makes a lot of sense to go. Assassin mech means there's 2 assassins, 2 mech. I think maybe we're getting to a point there's too many adult heroes, and this year's going to be a lot if there's another draft set coming. You know what I mean?
Can never have too many.
No, I think for a healthy game, you don't want 100 heroes.
Not 100, but
we would be hitting 30 this year, easily.
What are we at now?
20
16? 17?
I don't want to list them out. I know in Blitz it's over 20.
Oh, to Blitz there's heaps. Yeah. CC, I don't know if we're over 20. Anyway, we'll crunch the numbers. But
well, either way, it doesn't take long because they slowed down Living Legend. Okay, no one plays Briar this season. Probably nothing Living Legends. Nothing. So, nothing Living Legends whole season. We're in June. Draft expansion set. It buffs Reiner. That becomes the S tier. Great. That's not going to Living Legend 1 season either anymore. At the end of the year, you get another 4 heroes.
Do you think we'd see the tap turned up a little halfway through the ProQuest season, if Briar wasn't pushing LSS just goes, okay, second half of
Well,
ProQuest
I mean,
season.
they are happy to adjust it. But mind you, there's only 2 Runeblades in the meta anyway. I don't think they want another Runeblade Living Legend already.
Do you think we'll see talents in Outsiders or generic heroes?
Well, it's weird. They said Light Shadows this year.
Yes.
So is that the supplementary set? Are we going to get 2 heroes in? Do you know, like, where is it? Because if it's at the end of the year, then they really want to keep Briar around for the end of the year. Because if Briar's out, it's just Viz.
I like maybe not having talents in this set and just really focusing on some depth, because that has been some common criticism. Especially
Azalea's not going to have a talent. What's her talent going to be?
Yeah, well, they're not just going to reprint Azalea as Azalea, right?
Why not?
No way. They'll starve the show. They'll starve her. They'll do something.
Okay, but how does that even look, and why?
I don't know. Why
but I guess, you know, what we're actually arguing here is, what's the Pit's talent? Is it Alchemist? Is Assassin a talent? Maybe we're all wrong and it's actually Assassin Ranger and there's no Assassin in the set. Do you understand what I mean? Because stealth isn't a keyword we've seen. We don't know what that...
Yeah, maybe this could be
like... I know what stealth is.
Azalea Death Dealer, Assassin Ranger.
Whatever, right? Now, people are saying, the only dual class is Emperor because he's like the most powerful wizard. I'm like, I can't remember if that's actually been said in that context. Like, there won't be other dual class.
I haven't heard James say there won't be, but They're
reserving it.
Yeah.
They're not going to print everything as a dual, because that's boring. Actually, you don't want everything to be dual class.
Of course, yeah.
But Starvo was triple talent. Do you know what I mean? Like, and ridiculously powerful. I think a ranger, maybe assassin is a talent, not a. That's what I mean. What's the Pit's talent? Because they've said every region has a talent. Well, what's the Pit's? We know what Volcor is. We know what Solana is. We know what the Monastery is. All these regions. We're pretty sure the Savage Lands will probably just be Savage, right? It could be a talent. Savage might just be you roll the dice, a bit like a KO ability. Stealth, I think, is just going to be a new assassin weapon.
Would you...
Because the weapons right now feels like you shouldn't be running 2 daggers. Doesn't... Like it's nearly redundant to hit with both. It's a lot of pitch. You got to pitch 4 to swing for 2.
Would you be excited to see a lot of large-scale limited events pop off after Outsiders?
That's what it'll be, right? It'll be draft.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Would you like going to limited callings?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, so far they haven't done purely limited ones, though, have they?
Yeah, in New Zealand.
Yeah.
20...
Oh, yeah, but recently it's been a mix. So I'm expecting a mix of draft CC.
Not for... No, not for... callings have just been either limited or constructed. Pro Tour's been mixed.
Right.
But not callings.
Well, I hope they just do Blitz again.
Blitz calling, team blitz, that'd be fun.
So fun.
Team events are fun.
I'm a bit disappointed that there's not one in Australia and that the New Zealand calling CC. Like, just make it team blitz.
Well, I think we'll get a calling next year.
Well, they've upped the callings. They've upped battle hardens a lot.
Yeah. What do you think of the OP announcement?
Man, we're in a weird spot in Australia. It's all bad because I haven't been. The only good event was the Sydney Blitz calling, but that had LSS staff at it, and even that had its own issues. But more or less was a good event, a big event. Both nationals were not the best. One was during COVID, and like it's sort of irrelevant. But this last nationals, like our nationals, was that bad? Like, do you really want these kind of TOs running callings? It's not going to be good. Not going to be a prize war. Not going to be singles. Not even going to be banners and artwork around the place. No cosplay contest. Like, come on. Like, even from a money perspective, you can make so much more money if you put some effort in. And it's weird. We don't have a flagship shop. We don't have, like, one store in Australia where you'd go, this person, let's back them. Like Grimdark is really the only one. There's probably a consensus that he does a fucking fantastic job.
Well, that's why.
But he's very regional. Like,
that's why I was asking Brendan, like, does LSS have a policy whereby a competent TO without a brick and mortar can run nationals?
yeah, but I don't. Let's say that happens, and it's a great nationals.
Yeah.
Ideally, that helped the store. Ideally, that's why I was saying, well, what you do is you need to like if you're a person listening that can run these events, find a store to back you, because they'll send a store extra armory kits and battle hardened kits and a PTI event. So you got to find the store and then do it under their name. So we could run a nationals under the Grimdark banner, but Brennan's got to run his shop.
But that's the thing. Do you need even a store? Do you have to have a banner?
What I'm saying, if you're doing it through Grimdark, then it's irrelevant what LSS want, because it's going through Grimdark. They're responsible for it. Now, if Grimdark hire Paul to run it for them, why would LSS care?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, does that make sense? Like, you're just the person managing the event for Grimdark. That's what I'm trying to say. Is really, you don't need to wait for LSS to go, our policy is. You can just go, who do we want to run it? And Brendan would be a great candidate.
I'm surprised they didn't give it to Good Games. LPG ran, I went to 2 of the MTG Nats that they ran down in Canberra. They were at the Australian Institute of Sport. Nice venue. 600 plus player event for Nats.
Why
awesome.
Canberra, though?
Because it was, nationals. It was traditionally always in Canberra. It's like I
guess Canberra is accessible by everyone.
Yeah,
like it's a cheap ticket from pretty much everywhere.
It's our capital city,
Sure.
And this is the nationals. So let's have it in Canberra. I thought it was quirky. It was fun. Institute of Sport was a good venue. I think it's reasonably priced as well. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing maybe LPG getting another shot.
I think, but LPG were hiring an event person, so maybe they're having struggles internally. Like when someone puts a job up for basically an event coordinator, either their events coordinator doesn't want to do it, or they saw something missing. Because our calling was great, but like it wasn't run by people that understood Fab, and there was no prize wall. And the people they picked for singles vendors was quite odd. Like they could have done a lot better. Like the people in New South Wales with singles weren't there.
Some things, like, we discussed that at length, that calling in Sydney. Some things I thought were done well.
But I think the stuff that was done well is purely LSS support. Like all the artwork and banners and the hype, that's LSS gives you those banners. LSS,
I thought the venue was good.
The venue was amazing. Correct. But I don't think in Sydney there's many good venues. That particular venue wouldn't be the best venue in Sydney. You could
Not
run
the best, but it was good.
I had no complaints about the venue. Maybe a bit packed, but that's just because the event sold out pretty much. But yes, it was great altogether, but wasn't running on time, which is also partially like I think that these TOs are giving way too much authority to judges. Like the judge staff's job I don't think it's supposed to be to run your event. I think they can run the draft, but the TO should be the one ensuring there's no line outside. You got enough staff to handle people ushered to the right. Like it's not the judge's job. I know they're there to help. Because it felt like Noah was running the event.
Yeah, look, I don't know exactly where the demarcation points are, but I do know that especially Magic, because I played in so many events. I had friends that were high-level judges, NTOs. The judges were expected to do some of the, TO functions, on-the-day functions, but they're not responsible, I don't believe, for all the logistics leading up to the event. So that's all done by the TO, or all the logistics leading up, and then, like, on the day, the judges sort of step in and take control over certain things. But it'd be interesting where all those, because when Magic was popping off, there was a massive community of people that volunteered their time, supported these big TOs, and ran these successful events in Australia.
Yep.
And since Magic OP, disintegrated a few years ago before COVID, I wonder where all those people are. Like that talent, has that just disappeared forever? Is it like a knowledge void now that we have in the TO in Australia? Like, is there no one competent in this country anymore that can do these events?
What I think is it's a pretty low-paying, thankless job. Most people, most judges, they're volunteers. They get some compensation. I think in that vein, most of those people, if given enough reason, they'd quit doing it anyway. But they keep going because the events keep going and the community still expects them to be there. And they have some community status that keeps you going. How long? Because 50 minutes for a jiu-jitsu example. Jiu-jitsu is run off the back of like your blue belt running classes for free, so you can have a day off. But you can see it backfire because, okay, the guy running the class usually gets the belts quicker. They get, a bit more. They usually train for
a few lurks and perks.
Yeah, but the problem with that is eventually you get to a point where it's like, well, they're going to leave and start their own gym, or you're going to pay them. And I believe when Magic stopped, people that were judging out of passion for the game were like, it's not a negative to them to not have to put in all those weekends. Now they're spending more time with the kids or playing the events, and it's hard to bring them back. It's because it was never a high-paying. Do you know what I mean? The TO, like themselves, like someone like Lindsay would probably jump in because he knows how much money he can make, but that's not purely passion, so it's different. He'd run a Weiss Schwartz event if you paid him. He'd run a MetaZoo event if you paid him. Even if he hates the game, he'll run it because he's like, this many tickets, this event, blah blah blah. He can, you know what I mean? Like it's a business thing. It's not passion, not pure passion. I know he's passionate about Magic, but he would definitely run an event he wasn't passionate about. But you're not going to go judge a MetaZoo event for a couple of boxes of MetaZoo. Like, no one's going to do that. So I think that's where the people have gone, is they're around, but they're like happy not to judge right now, happy not to have the responsibility. So that's this grassroots problem. You got to find these people in flesh and blood.
It's not just exactly, I think we got to build it from the ground up, but it's not just the judges. Like at a big like Grand Prix, like a calling, you'd have the judging team. You'd have the TO that would come to site with a bump-in team, right? So they do all the tables, all the, getting the hall, everything set up. Then you'd have the other people, the scorekeepers. So all the people that would be sitting behind the computers up on the top desk, timekeeping, scorekeeping. They're not judges. They have their own roles
like
and
sound people.
responsibilities.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. And then you'd have the welcome desk people. You'd have 2 people, 3 people on the welcome desk. And then you'd have 2 or 3 people at the prize wall. So there was lots of groups of teams, right? And all those people have vanished because I remember all the faces.
But I imagine they're all just gamers. They're in the community.
Yeah, they're all Magic players. Yeah.
But like a company like Good Games or LPG would have the resources to go, hey, like send an email out to your 400 members and go, look, we got this job pays $28 an hour. It's on the weekend. We'll give you, like, it's, you pretty much have to come in at 7. By 10 o'clock, you're trained. Like, you don't even need, like, you know what I mean? Like, scorekeeping can be taught on the day. If someone has some TCG knowledge, you can explain how to use the software, But that's what I mean. I don't think those people are gone. I think people like Lindsay is only TO I really know from old school. All of those people would know all the people. Like, I'd imagine Lindsay could find 100 people tomorrow to run an event if it was needed. Because they're just in his contacts.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a chunk of them are still customers. You know what I mean? They still play in the store or even internationally he could probably set up an event in Asia. Brendan Healy clearly has the same type of thing. Like he could just on his phone, on Facebook, find 5 people to come and do timekeeping.
See, that was interesting that Fabled got the contract for New Zealand callings, but not Australia callings.
New Zealand's a weird one for Flesh and Blood because there's no distributor. While
true.
here, they have to go through the distributor for some things.
So you think they tied the calling deal into the distribution deal with LPG?
I mean, if I was LPG, Channel Fireball's the same. Although they're not a distributor, they're a big enough client that they probably went, well, we also want to run your events. Because they know from other games how much money are in the events. You could tell that whole tent worlds, there's a lot of money. They would make a lot of money because it's a cheap venue. Like, a venue with no toilets can't be expensive. Like, you couldn't convince me it was a premium.
10 grand a day. You think that
It's
hanger was?
irrelevant. They made a lot of money. Whatever it was, we had, let's say, 2,000 people total came through the door. How much was a ticket? 100 US?
For the Fabled, no, it was more. It was like
no, but I'm just like
150.
real low numbers. It's $100,000 just in tickets. It's not counting the overpriced food. You've easily made 20 to 50,000 off the overpriced canteen you had. You know, plus all the playmats that they sold. Now they paid money to the artists for them, but you know, it's not like you're not taking a fee. You're not processing that crap for free. So it's easy $150,000 for 3 days. You're not paying $50,000 a day. Even your staff, like how many staff did they have? It wasn't super packed with staff. 20 staff, a couple of $100 a day. It's nothing. If you're not walking away with 50 to 100,000 profit, that's how I see that. It's $100,000 payday.
Oh yeah. I know that, you know. I
Yeah.
know the TOs for running those big GPs were taking home 6 figures at the end of the weekend. That was pretty standard.
And you can't convince me that anybody's worth 6 figures for a weekend. 50 Cent for a couple of songs, maybe. You know what I mean? Like a real celeb.
I think the Fab... Look, if we got a calling that was freaking amazing, okay, and no one else was running it, but that TO walked away with 6 figures, I wouldn't be begrudging against them, you know, as long as the community got a great event.
No, but what I'm trying to say is I don't think you walk away with 6 figures if you were really looking after the community. You would have more staff. You would have a better venue in a better location. Do you understand what I mean?
I see that.
That's where the money goes, right? The money's got to go to something. If you're not making it, you spent it on renting better tables or a better venue or price support, for instance. So like the price support at Worlds was actually atrocious for the amount of money you paid to join the Battle Harden.
What's with these Battle Hardens not getting prize tickets anymore?
That's because they're printing money.
They did it at Pro Tour 1. It was freaking awesome.
But that's because they go, wait, here's the thing. The fault's with LSS. It's 100% with LSS. Whoever they have running their organized play is the inexperienced one.
Well, they obviously haven't set it out in terms in contracts.
I can sit down and write a contract, and I don't even have a legal background or a tournament organizing background or a TCG background. I can tell you immediately, I'd be like, yeah, that's what's going to happen. There's going to be a prize wall, and the rate is this, because it's for the community, not for you to print money. Do you understand what I mean? Go, Battle Hardened. If like literally, I'd have a chart, free entry, no price support. All the way up to $100 entry, minimum price support, $50 RRP. So you're going to get 10 packs minimum. Like, none of this... Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that you write that. LSS writes that. The problem is, I think, what they're doing well is very obvious. I had long chats with LSS staff about this at Worlds. The art is fucking phenomenal. The lore is phenomenal. The set distribution, the rarities in Fab 2.0 are awesome, right? James is doing an awesome job at being the leader when he writes to the community, open letters and stuff. It's top-notch, faultless, nearly faultless, right? Like, you can't really, you know what I mean? Their band's right on point. What are they fucking up with? The organized play stuff, the scheduling stuff.
They're subcontractors.
Yeah. But I understand why the other stuff is a priority, because you don't have events if you have shit sets. If the art looks like MetaZoo, you don't have the player base. Like, I understand the priority has to be, but now, and they've said it anyway for 2023, they've hired new people and they're pushing, but you can tell that that's what's lacking. But that's on them. That's loose contracts. That's trusting people like Channel Fireball again and again to do things correctly and then not doing it. Like the playmat thing, it's a very easy thing to fix. I was there, like, I love everyone that works at LSS, but you talk to this guy's like, I don't know, not my problem. Talk to this guy, not my problem. My job's to ship the mats. My job's to book the venue. My job's not to sort out playmats. Like, as a person, I'm not like that. Like, if I had an LSS lanyard, Channel 5 will be fucking giving me answers instantly.
But I don't think at that point the ship had sailed.
No, the playmats were still behind the counter. None of them been delivered in the morning. Like, you bought them the day before. I would have been there in the morning going, refund all that, or at least pause everything till we have a meeting and decide what's going on. But they took people's money and then there were no refunds. Like, Phil took 2 hours to get his refund.
Yeah.
But what you do when you fuck up like that is you refund everybody. Then you sold the playmats the way they were announced to be sold, at least during the hours of the event, not prior.
Yeah, it was a fuck up.
Yeah, but you can't like...
But I just don't know if LSS could have gone in there and heavy-handed them to do anything at that point. Channel Fireball could just say, piss off, we're doing it our way.
No, they can't, because
Why
who
not?
owns the playmats, Paul? It's not Channel Fireball. It's still not their property. It's not Channel Fireball's property to sell. It's the artist's property and it's LSS. You understand, Channel Fireball don't buy the playmats to sell them. That would be very...
Well, they got them for free to make money off, is that what you're saying?
No. Every other event, the playmats get delivered straight. So
who was collecting that money? Channel Fireball was.
So here's my understanding. At every other event, Federico Missetti's there.
Yep.
Newson, our friend, would ship boxes of playmats. I believe it's him. He deals with the promotional shit. He'll ship crates or boxes of playmats to the TO's warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
When the TO opens a door for the event, they wheel over Federico. Like, it literally on the box will say Federico Missetti. It goes to his booth. It's just marketing material. It's the same as...
But what about the mats, though? Channel Fireball.
So this is what I'm explaining, right?
Yeah.
So the reason they changed that, according to LSS staff, was the problem with Federico is he'd end up with $50,000 in cash or whatever, which is not good in certain parts of Europe. It's a fucking pain to fly with, right? And then you're in a foreign country with all this cash. And then, like, there's nefarious types. Like, it's not impossible that now that I've even said that, someone goes, you know what? Like, next time Federico's in, like, when the next Pro Tour in Europe, we'll just roll the guy in the car. But what's anyone going to do? It's not like there's armed security, right? It's a lot of money and it's tax problems and, And by the way, governments aren't good at understanding you made $5,000 at a card event if they really want to ask questions, right? So the point was, Channel Fireball was going to process all the payments and pay the artists with a transfer. Makes sense on paper. It's a great idea, right? Because that becomes...
So that was for Worlds. They were selling them on behalf of the artists.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They just sold them incorrectly.
Interesting.
And
I didn't know
the
that.
messaging from Flesh and Blood LSS was different to what actually happened, because it was like, you can buy these at the LSS booth. No playmats were sold at the LSS booth. Also, if you wanted a playmat signed, you had to buy it, line up at the Channel Fireball booth to get it, then go line up at the artist booth to get it signed, which no one has time for. It's like, you saw the lines. Like, in a perfect world, you line up, you buy the playmat, get it signed, like every other event.
But as if you wouldn't say, like, just my brain, like, I'd much rather see my money, no offense, Channel Fireball,
to go straight
to the artists than Channel Fireball. But why didn't the TO just say, all proceeds or profits go to the artist? Like, everyone would be on board with that, right?
No one would win, just loudly correct.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you do that?
Because LSS aren't enforcing it. LSS are going, do this. Like, look, I'm not trying to... I know LSS watches this channel. I'm not trying to, like, talk shit. I'm trying to avoid this. Because it's not a good experience. As a fan, that was not a good experience. I'm also... After all the expenses to get to Worlds, thousands of dollars, carding the podcast equipment, everything, I also had to fucking pay nearly 600 Australian dollars for 2 playmats. Get fucked. No, I was there and I wasn't playing. I had time to line up. I just couldn't buy them for $50. That's not fair.
Oh, you're saying you purchased them?
I had to buy them aftermarket.
Aftermarket, okay.
Scalpers, man.
Yeah. Oh, I had no time to learn up to. I got no mats.
I did have time because I wasn't playing Worlds. My whole plan was I had the whole day to get playmats to get them signed.
Yeah, and they just screwed you. When you
I
asked
feel
for the
screwed.
playmat.
Who screwed me is irrelevant. What I'm trying to say is, okay, to me it's flowchart in my head. I'll try and verbalize it. LSS cares more about their fans and community than Channel Fireball or anybody else will, right? They're the mummy, they're the daddy, they're the ones that, this is their baby. So it's on them to write this stuff contractually. Go, you want to run our event and print money, here's what you must do. You have to micromanage. I was talking to MJ about this at Worlds because I'm like, what did she say? She's like, it's weird for her to meet the artists because she literally polices them. That's her job. Like, she's the conduit between the technical side and the art side. So there's a vision for this hero. This is what they look like. Here's the big brief. The artist sends her draft. She has to go, nah, that's shit. That's her job, is to go, nope, do that better. Face is ugly. Eyes are not symmetric. Whatever. Like, she's got to nitpick, micromanage. Okay, MJ, because she was, what did she say? She made a comment like, it's awkward meeting them because, like, I can be very stern in the emails, like, back and forth. Okay, MJ, but you understand from the fans' perspective, we're very appreciative because the art is pretty much faultless. Like, the art is one of the big reasons Flesh and Blood. And thank you for micromanaging and being a bit of a bitch to the artist when you need to be, because you end up with a good product. Like, I don't care if James has to yell at people to get the work done. If the sets are good, it's that's like we don't. There's obviously like blood and tears behind it. We know he was sleeping on the fucking floor. It doesn't have to be pretty in the back. At the end of the day, people are only going to look at the product. People aren't going to be like, the product's great, but you know, maybe you should sleep more hours a day. Like, no one's saying James should sleep more. People just like the product. To get the product we get, he doesn't sleep a lot. That's just the cost. MJ has to be a bitch to some artists, I'm sure, when the art doesn't match the brief or they missed a big key lore detail, like they're supposed to have green hair and the artist makes it blue. Like, that's got to change. So the artist is not going to be happy putting in extra work, but that's her job. Micromanaging, being... Like, management is all about being an asshole. Parenting is about being an asshole. Like, love and everything is great, but you can't be a good parent if you're always a mate to your kids. Like, that's just not how parenting works. It's not how you run a company. It's not how you manage events. This is LSS's job to go, no. None of this crap. No. That's the max ticket price is this, or the minimum price support is this. That's on them.
Yeah, I think, though, you know, to be fair... still a new company, still new at running big events. Like, I think Worlds was probably the biggest event in history that LSS has ever put on. I think they're just learning along the way. I think a lot of this is probably just oversight because they didn't sit through and think that, you know, their subcontractors could screw them this way. I just know with my day job, oftentimes I might get screwed in a contract, but it's an oversight on my part because I never saw it coming, or I never saw that, someone would approach a situation that way. And what do I do for the next one? I tighten it up.
So I tighten it up. That's all I'm saying. It's not to go back and say what they should have done. I'm saying it's on them, meaning when you know this could happen or can happen, now that you're aware that your contractor can book a venue with no toilets, that's not going to happen again, is it?
Yeah.
And if it does, that's a big problem. The first one is like... by the way, in Australia, you can't have a venue without toilets. I can't imagine it's legal here. That's an American thing. That, like, in Australia, you can't refuse someone water if they come into your venue and ask for a drink because it's a hot country. Legally, you have to offer tap water if you have a business license.
Yeah, even the showground pavilions out at Homebush have toilets.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think in Australia you can own a business without toilets. Like, that kind of, like, a function hall without toilets is a very odd... Here, council wouldn't approve it, Paul. Council would be like, what?
But generally speaking, the toilet situation in America is C grade at best.
But this is what I'm saying. So coming from a country like New Zealand, which is actually a little bit further ahead than Australia with like rules and regulations, definitely like more advanced.
Yeah, it's a more regulated society.
More regulated. Yeah. Well, you think you go to a venue in Singapore without toilets? Are you kidding? There'd be a bidet in every single toilet in Singapore. Like the minimum standard's quite high. So coming from New Zealand, or most countries, most European countries, even third world countries, it's very odd. There's no way there's an event hall in Lebanon with no toilets in it. Again, wouldn't get accepted. The architect plans would get ripped up. It's weird that exists. I think what's happened is dodgy. I think that tent is actually a exhibition hall for the exhibition center. Because I've seen photos with cars in there and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that means it's an offshoot of the other building. Do you understand what I mean?
To me, I got away.
So I'm saying
they got away with toilets because it's not technically a building.
No, but I'm saying I think then that design. So they've gone to council or whatever the equivalent is, because you got to get this stuff approved. And they've gone, the toilets are in the main building. This is the tent offshoot.
This is a marquee.
Yeah. It's a marquee.
Yeah.
But they're not supposed to rent it out, like, because again...
They're not meant to rent it out as a building.
Let me put it this way. Yeah. If we could just go put up tents and charge $10,000 a day, everyone would do it. You can't. You have to have fire exits. Yeah, there's a lot of regulation goes in. Toilets, I think someone's done which is fine.
Yeah, I see how they could do it.
But I think like they shouldn't be renting it on its own. I think that should be part of a...
Well, Channel Fireball just went for the cheapest place there.
I've heard a different story. I don't think it's all on Channel Fireball.
Yeah.
Because I think the venue does have to get approved before they book it. And I think it was someone on LSS's end a while ago that fucked up and maybe isn't even with the company anymore. I've got in trouble for rumors before, but that's the rumor I've heard is you can't just blame Channel Fireball because LSS actually approved the venue.
No, that's fair. So
someone approved the venue, and if it was Channel Fireball, fuck them. If it's not, again, all I'm saying is I hope they've learned.
Well, I'm led to believe Worlds was the last event that Channel Fireball was contracted to run.
I've heard that
Not
too.
saying they can't run more, but the current contract that expired with that event. And now we've got the call-in in Indianapolis, first weekend of Feb. That's run by Star City Games, part of the Star City.
Is that on the wrong coast? Different coast, though?
It's in the middle. It's like south of
Because this
Chicago.
is weird. We went to New York or Jersey. That was Channel Fireball.
Yeah,
San Jose is the other coast.
correct.
Channel Fireball. I thought it was Star City Games is one coast and Channel Fireball. Oh, sorry. I've heard that Star City can only really do events on one of the coasts. Like that's where
I think that was more of a Magic, like traditionally back in the day. Like there were sort of some invisible lines that the TOs used to have in Magic with the coast. With there was like 2 or 3 or 4. But no, Indianapolis is actually closer to the East Coast, south of Chicago. That's run by Star City during the SCG Con. So it's going to have like Magic, Pokemon.
That's great though.
Yeah, Magic, Pokemon.
That's actually what we should be doing, Paul, is find out when PAX is or whatever, when they do these big gamer events, that's when we should be pushing for a team blitz calling or something, one of these big events.
Yeah.
Run a big learn to play. Like if you have enough tables for 100 teams, but then the day before is a big free learn to play, we all turn up. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone that's around, just help teach people how to play.
But do you think Star City will get Worlds then? I mean, Pro Tour?
Look, the thing
Pro
is,
Tour
I
1,
think
2023.
You work for a big corporate brand. Like I think it's easy to go fuck Channel Fireball, but it's never that simple. I'm sure Channel Fireball can run great events. Our experience, the Flesh and Blood community's experience with Channel Fireball isn't ideal. It's the stock they sold, it's the Monarch stuff, and then it's... Do you know what I mean?
I've been to a great Channel Fireball event before, Magic one.
That's what
Vegas.
I'm saying. So I think
awesome.
it's like I said, I think it's more on LSS. That if you're going to get upset with anything, get upset if LSS keep allowing events to be run this way. Because if my contractor screwed up, I'm either tightening up, or if they really screwed up, they're getting a very stern warning. Like, hey, if anything, they're running my next event for free, man. Like I used to run cleaners. Like when cleaners would screw me around, a contractor, I'd be like, well, I have this graffiti on this bridge I need cleaned. I ain't paying you. Like that's you making up for the $5,000 I had to pay in overtime because you screwed up on the quote. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the negotiation with contractors. Like you want to make money, you got to look after me. It's not free. Like you can't keep fucking up. And that's not how you manage contractors. Like you better be getting a massive... Like if a contractor screws you and now you have to ask your client for $50,000 more because the contractor is late, they better be doing something on the next contract if they're going to get it. Like, it's not even... I'm not talking like under the table stuff. I'm like, no, you're going to pay for the venue upgrade next time. You're going to have more staff. You're going to...
Contract management's its own profession, and that's why, because a lot of sneaky subcontractors set up their businesses based on getting away with charging variations. Well, so they manipulate their contracts in order to sneak in variations. So they'll, as like, I'm not saying this happened to LSS, but every time LSS might ask for something, or hey, by the way, might not be Channel Fireball, anyone, I need you to do this. You sent us the brief. We don't like it. Can you change it? Like, yeah, sure, that's going to cost X. And LSS like, hang on a sec.
But that's why you can't partner with those. Like, it's something like a TCG. That's why you got to find some actual... Like, I saw John Sasso on Alex's channel First of all, I don't know. Alex, man, don't give people like that fucking airtime. Like, the guy doesn't have a good reputation in LS. I don't know why. Like, you know what I mean? Because the guy was like, but even by the way he's talking,
I haven't watched the video. Is it good?
He doesn't play Fab, man. Like, that's the obvious thing you get from that video is him pretending to understand Fab and use some words that are Fab related. But when it really, he's like, yeah, I'm going to teach my kids how to play. And then he gets asked, he's like, I've never played Fab. And he's like, but I don't play any games. It's like, which is fair. But anyway, my point is this. You got to partner with the right people. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna give Channel Fireball a contract, part of the contract can also be, look, you can have a 10-year contract, but you need to have how you force a hire, like you have a relationship manager on the contractor's end because it's a massive contract.
Yeah, yep.
That person has to be from the community. We shortlist, send us resumes. Like, you can literally say you have to hire someone from LSS for the next year. Do you understand? Like, that's how big contracts work.
Yeah, I know.
No. You're going to have Newson Zhang is going to be running you're going to have a liaison. You're paying him a full salary. Mm-hmm. He's your person now. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? Like, you can do that.
Yeah.
You can find someone in the community, go, hey, this person has TO experience. He's a level 2 Fab judge. He's on salary now at Channel Fireball because to run our events, you got to have someone who's connected.
Yeah, full time.
Like, that's not, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, probably millions in profit when you add in Channel Fireball used to sell stock. And so I don't think it's that difficult to make it happen, right? But you have to do it. You as LSS have to go, what do we expect from our contractors and events? What's the minimum standard? And I don't believe that document exists. Do you understand what I mean? Like, by looking at it, doesn't feel like the procedure for running these big events is either doesn't exist or is in very infant stages, which again, the company's in infant stages.
Who was a TO for Lil?
Card Market? It was a distributor, wasn't it?
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, but what's funny is the guy running that, I think he's Italian, was a judge at the Channel Fireball event. So these guys have gone and flown someone in from Europe to help them run an event in the US. That boggles my mind. Why?
Why not?
The cost.
But why? Magic always did that. They had judges that flew all the way around the world constantly.
That's just people
that's
doing
very
reach
normal.
arounds. No, man.
That's not abnormal.
Why are you paying $3,000 for a ticket when you can hire someone locally that is just as qualified? I can't imagine the US has a shortage of
level 2 judges. Maybe they do.
No, not level 2 judges. Sure, you're flying some in. I don't think this guy that was in Europe was just working for the distributor. He was selling at the prize wall.
So he wasn't a level 2 judge.
I'm just saying he wasn't judging then.
Oh, okay. But at Worlds he was.
He was a judge. He's the guy that had a confrontation.
Yeah, so he was a level 2 judge?
I don't think he's a level 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think a level 2 would actually behave that way. But what I'm saying is why is the guy running the Card Market prize wall a judge in the Worlds event? You couldn't find judges? Like that, to me, that's just insider people, know people. They get flown in. Like, it's little...
Yeah, there's probably a little bit of that too.
Fuck that.
Probably
man.
a little bit of it.
Fuck that. By the way, I already know, like, LSS do... Like, LSS are very loyal. You know, they're loyal to Rudy. They're loyal. It's not a bad trait in and of itself. But I think that has that kind of loyalty stifles growth as well.
It can have a negative
because if you're
effect.
putting resources into
it can propel growth as well though.
No, I'm not. What I'm trying to say, like, let me give you an example because this is personal to me, and I've had communication with LSS about it. They're loyal to only the original online resellers for Fab.
Yep.
If you weren't in the original, you're out. Mm-hmm. You can't get it now. Understandable, because at one point they were the distributor and now they have distributors and they can't screw the distributors by keep adding direct clients. Sure, fine. There's a compromise there as you force the distributor to deal with the online. You just tell the distributor, look, they have to have a play space, but we have a list. If they're on it, you can sell them product. The problem with that loyalty is there's no more of those original single stores in Australia. And LPG overcharges unless you're WPN. So even most of our small stores, the independents, are also struggling to even get stock, let alone at the right price, to compete with good games. So that loyalty to your distributor, it does hurt the community in Australia. I've been very vocal about it. Can't get singles. The smaller stores like Blood Rush pay way too much for product to the point where the bigger stores have a sale. It's less than Ollie pays. That shouldn't happen. There's cost and I understand people can be on tiers of pricing,
but you can drop your price here, whatever you want.
No, the distributor shouldn't be selling stock anywhere near retail. Because you got to understand, man, if the distributor is selling stock for $100, they're paying 80.
Yeah.
So they have no reason to sell it at 110. They're paying 80. Their cost doesn't change based on your size as a customer, right? Because they charge you the shipping anyway. They understand like LPG have a fixed cost, but then they fluctuate the cost depending on how much they like you as a store or how big you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that's pretty common in all.
Paul, but it can fluctuate
wholesale
within reason.
industry.
It shouldn't go anywhere near retail. Your safe space is in the. You're a distributor. It should be wholesale pricing.
Yeah.
You're playing in the 10% above 80.
I'm not arguing. They're screwing people. Like
you can't charge. Like if I can buy a box online off Mighty Ape for $110, why the fuck is a store paying $110 from the distributor?
But what do you think's happening in America with Magic and Amazon?
It's robbery.
People aren't buying from their LGSs because they can get this shit cheaper on Amazon. I'd hate to see Fab go down that route.
Well, I think right now
I'd hate that.
You have stores that allegedly do singles that can't even fucking make the effort to bring them to nationals. So what's the point? But then you have most of the smaller independent stores that would probably open 4 to 10 cases a set for singles. Pay too much for the stock.
I just don't think our player base is starved for singles. I don't think it's having a negative effect yet. I think if we were triple the size with our current supply, maybe it would be an issue.
I'm talking to new players. It's a problem.
I talk to new players too. None of them have had a problem getting cards from what I'm aware of. We've got trade pages. We've got auction pages. We do have stores that sell
very
signals.
Different people. Are they the same people?
Maybe. Like what? They just can't
they
get
buy
cards.
stuff from auction pages that don't get sent for weeks. They buy off our friends that forget to ship them.
Yeah.
Like, this is in our group.
Yeah, sure.
In our own group.
I'm not saying
by the way,
those
people
cases
that don't know
exist.
each other. Like people.
Yeah.
Like I've been told names. Like I've gone by someone. It's like, man, I got really screwed. I go, what happened? Well, I bought singles off the guy, and he's forgot to ship them, and I need them for the event. I'm like, I'll borrow them to you. I'm like, who is it? He goes, this person. I go, wait, he's a really good guy. That shouldn't be happening. He's like, yeah, but like...
It happens. When people are doing this as a hobby, it happens, right?
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Yeah, but I don't think that's like a systemic... I don't think it is a systemic issue getting singles.
I can pick some singles right now that you physically can't find.
In Australia?
Yeah. Try and find a New Horizon. Go. Try and find a Tunic.
You just can't get a Tunic at the moment?
Try.
I reckon I can get one. What, there's none on the Oceanic page?
There's 1 or 2 for sale on the Oceanic page at a time.
Okay.
For every 5 buyers. I know 5 buyers right now. I don't have Tunics. And then I go to buy Whiteboarder to try and crack some legendaries. Can't buy Whiteboarder. Fuck. All right, let's buy some Arcane Rising to crack. Can't find Arcane Rising.
And there's no online stores in Melbourne or Brisbane that have
I'm
Tunics.
telling you, try and buy a New Horizon. Try. There's 1 at Midian Gaming. 1 for sale online. 1. Doesn't look good for the game either, by the way. Like as an aesthetic
I just don't
thing.
think it is. I think it's like if the demand truly is there.
But when's the last time you tried to buy singles?
I buy singles occasionally.
No, but like you're not buying as a new player. You're buying, all right, I need like 2 of this card for my deck I'm playing. But you're not trying to build Azalea right now. Try and build Azalea from scratch. It's a pain in the ass. You can't get even half the deck from one place. You can't.
Yeah.
The only person that used to have the singles, I was feeding the singles to, that had all the singles. And that stopped. Like, I'm cracking more than stores, which is why I'm going to do it myself, because I'm the one opening.
Well, let everyone know. What are you doing? That's a good segue.
Everyone knows.
Not everyone knows. I didn't know until
Well,
what?
you don't watch my streams. This is all I've been doing lately, streaming.
Oh, are you talking about in your streams?
Yeah, I haven't been posting videos on their own. But the flukeandbox.shop, it already has 4,000 SKUs.
So it's a single. So Fluke and shop for all your singles.
And we're not
needs.
using binder pos bullshit. No TCG player affiliate. Nothing. Just we're doing it.
You're setting all your own prices.
we will make money. I'm not an idiot, but genuinely the profit's not like I want a place where you can send me a deck list and I get it for you.
So you're not advertising prices?
Oh, no, there'll be singles listed.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But instead of you won't necessarily have to go in there and populate it yourself. If you want to send a deck list, we'll populate your cart, send you a link, you log in, check the cart, pay. But the main part will be, actually the cool thing we're doing is we're only selling commons and rares. This place it's a 3, 99 cents each. You can't buy one common. Because I think that's why a lot of these single stores don't. It's just a pain in the ass to sell commons for 10 cents each or whatever.
Yeah.
But then most of them are selling commons for 50 cents, which people just immediately deem as a ripoff. So they ask their friends, like, hey, have you got 2 of these? And they're not spending the money. It's going to be 99 cents set of commons. We're going to sell full play sets when the set comes out as well. Trying to do some of what Hemel does. Like Hemel, I can contact, go, I need a play set of WTR. He'll go put it together for me. But we also want to just sell pre-con blitz decks. Like I want low friction. I want when you.
But Hamill does it because he has such a huge market to sell into.
So do we. That's what these Aussie stores are missing. I personally sell singles to New Zealand, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines. They all buy from me. They're all on the Oceanic page. Shipping's not too bad.
Yep.
It's actually way more about trust and service that we're lacking than it is. Like, you're right. People have singles in binders in Australia. Like, yes, the singles exist, but there's very different you and your collection. Like, I have a gazillion singles, but it's sort of irrelevant. That's why I've gone and got someone to help me sort them and list them. Buy any of my singles. The only thing I'm keeping are my playsets. That's it. Anything extra that I had, all my legendary folders, just going to be up there. We're going to give new players a discount code for the first deck they buy.
Yeah, nice.
Like 20% off. Same as what I do with people anyway. I fucking do this shit. But I'm going to put it through a store. Also, because I want people to go, I want a Reinhard deck. Flukeandbox.shop. Pre-built Reinhard deck. Here's a deck tech video. Okay, I like this deck. Buy it. New player. You're not going to do that. You're probably never going to buy a full deck off me, which is completely fine. But if your friend, which you always do, you talk to ex-Magic friends and cousins and people that might want to play, go, look, jump on Fluke and Box's shop, find a deck you like, I'll get you a discount code. You ring me, go, hey, send me a discount code, 1 off for my mate. He wants to buy that deck. And it's pre-built. Like, if it's on the website, it's actually double-sleeved, ready to go.
That's cool.
Ship it the next day.
Well, I'm looking.
Yeah. And no legendaries and no majestic. So if the deck has Command and Conquer in it, we're going to put Ravenous Rabble in it. A 2 for 6 that costs nothing.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom of that deck, it's going to have cards we recommend for this deck. 2 Command and Conquers. Because we're going to assume...
Yeah, like optional add-ins and stuff.
Yeah, but you can play... So first of all, you can proxy the Ravenous Rabbles, right? Like your first armory, you pretend they're Command and Conquers. Just see if you like the deck.
Yeah.
What I don't want is a new player spending $1,000 with me and hating the deck. So we're going to charge you $100 for the cards and have all the equipment in it that's under $10 per equipment. And everything over is going to be, when you shop, it'll just say recommended for the deck and it'll show you need scabbies for this one. But as we know, you can probably win a skirmish without scabbies now.
Yeah.
Right? Like in Blitz, there's a lot of options.
What are scabbies anyway? Like they're only $50, $60 now, aren't they?
None foil. Look, but either way, why buy it? Play with the
new booties.
The new sandals. If you're a new player, I don't want you buying scabbies yet. I want to sell you a deck that's powerful enough to win, because maybe you're crack hot at playing card games and you can work it out pretty quick. I want you to be able to win. Like we want to build decks that we can play, like the Red Line Dromai deck. You just put a deep blue in it.
What about foils and stuff? Are you going to sell stuff like that?
Yeah, but all as singles.
Yeah, okay. So you're going to do the deck service, and then you're also going to sell regular singles.
I'm not buying foils to sell. My goal is just to have bulk and bulk and bulk and decks and bulk.
Good.
1 million Command and Conquers, 1 million E-Strikes, every legendary. So I just want to get my hands on a few pallets of white border. No one has it. Which is...
But like you said, you're going to be selling all through Southeast Asia, because I just don't think Australia has the players to eat that up.
Here's what I think. It's like build it and they will come.
Yeah.
We're meeting new players every week.
We are.
I have to help those new players manually build their decks.
But that's what we do.
Yeah.
We scramble around 10 minutes before an armory.
I don't like that. I think because here's why. For every person you and I meet that asks us for help, I think there's 5 to 10 that haven't asked.
We're very spoiled, okay, in a sense that you might not like that. I love that because back in the Magic Day, if you went to an F&M and said, I don't have a deck, I want to play, they would literally just tell you to fuck off.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, you wouldn't be playing that night. You know what it's like in our community. When new people
loan you a
come,
deck, yeah.
we loan you a deck, we scrounge for singles, the stores give cards. We get that person playing.
But just
That never happened in Magic.
what I was trying to say is not that I love doing it. When I'm asked, how many times are we not getting asked?
That's fair.
Do you understand that person that's playing One Piece and they're looking over, oh, what are you guys playing? Because we get that.
Yeah.
Oh, Flesh and Blood. Oh, yeah, I've heard of it. Okay, and they leave, right? What I want them to do, if they just go home and Google Flesh and Blood singles or Flesh and Blood deck, I want them to find something. I don't want them to... Man, it's like asking a girl out. Like, you don't always feel like you could just approach someone. And I know in the card world it's the same. Like, not everyone is confident enough to just come up and go, guys, can you teach me how to play? Like that happens occasionally, but how many people are not asking? How many people are jumping on YouTube? Like, go look at the views on the Learn to Play versus the amount of active players. It's 100, 200, 300 times more views than actual players. So there's plenty of people that were curious that didn't take the step. There's friction in coming up to me and asking. There is friction.
Yeah, your goal's to remove all that.
Now, when we remove friction... And maybe I pay a little for advertising. And maybe I encourage some stores that don't sell Flesh and Blood singles to maybe put a little like flukeandbox.shop thing in their store, talking to fabtcg so people can go buy in Australia and it links them to me. That's low friction. Like the hits fabtcg gets on fabtcg is higher than the player base. There's people jumping on looking at decks because they clicked a Red Zone Rogue, they clicked the Sloop Dupe deck, how to upgrade your Blitz deck, click on the link. Like, all of that is ending up in fucking nowhere because the only way to buy singles is you jump on a trade page. Or to find some local people. Like,
local
even
people,
that,
certain stores.
Our little chat group on Facebook, like, it's great, but it's probably got too many people in it for a Facebook chat group. But how many people do we know that are not in it? That we're surprised they're not in it. Sometimes we're like, wait, you're not even in the group. They don't know we're playing. That's the stuff that... I don't think it like hinders the growth in a big way, but we don't actually know till you make it a lot easier. Do you know?
Yeah.
That's why,
of course.
like, potentially we should have a Discord page for Sydney Fab because Facebook groups are spammy. And do you know what I mean? Like, there's better ways to do a lot of this stuff. But I think the singles specifically, I understand what you're saying. People ask me for help. I'm down. Actually, it's much better because I'll make sure they're at the armory. Like, oh, you want singles? That means you're investing. Like, you're putting money. Well, this is where we're playing. Come into the group, introduce them to people, make sure they have a good experience. I'm all for that. That's what we do. Everyone around us does that. No one's really bad at that. I'm talking about the people we don't even hear from. As a new player, I had that issue, I remember. I don't have the connections you have. I had to ask you to put me in touch with someone to give me singles. And at that point, he didn't have all the singles. He had to put crappy cards in my deck, which, as someone with a high amount of resources, I was like, man, I don't care what the money value is, just build me a deck. Like, if he'd said $1,200, I would have paid it. I wouldn't have questioned it. Do you know what I mean? But he couldn't physically find the Steelblade Supremacies to put in the deck. That needs to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
right.
some of
the
these
stock
stores
exists.
Yeah, but some of these stores don't even have a single copy of Blood Rush Bellows.
Do you understand my point?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to... Look, at the end of the day...
Is that a good... like, you know, in some ways it's bad that you... But also, I like the fact that demand down here is somehow outstripping supply and that you're coming in to fill that void. That's what I'm... And that's encouraging.
The reason I don't think that's the case is when we talk like supply demand in the stock market, it's
the only reason I say that is because we had two Brute players, new players, Brute players our last armory. They didn't have a single Blood Rush Bellows in their deck.
So let me explain what I think. I think the word is fungible. Shares are the same. buy 1 share or 10 shares, exactly the same, doesn't matter. A bit like fab cards. 10 Blood Rush Bellows, 1. There's a couple of versions of it, but it doesn't matter how many there are. The reason supply demand doesn't even equate to what we're talking about is we don't know because the shops don't have them. So supply demand is important if there's actual supply. Like you can see that people have 10 of every legendary in stock, and you check in the next week and it's 9 of every legendary, and you can see like, okay, there's way more stock than players. But when the numbers already at 0, which in the share market doesn't happen, there's never 0 shares available. Because on the stock market, the price will just go up because everyone's willing to sell at a price. Mm-hmm. The problem with Fab is we had that issue where alpha was $1 million and stuff because clearly there was not enough stock for everyone that wanted to play. I think that's gone. You know, certain products you can't find at the store level, but that means all those boxes were opened. I don't think anyone's hoarding pallets. We don't have a Rudy in Australia, to my knowledge, that's like got warehouses full of stock waiting for it to double. Because Fab is not that game anymore. So the singles are in people's binders. A big chunk of it is the collector player who has 10 Blood Rush Bellows, but they're like, I don't need the money. They're not interested in... Here's where I'm trying to go. Someone out there has 10 Blood Rush Bellows. They're not trying to make money, but they're also like, I don't need to sell it. Don't need the money. So they just sit... They're there, but they're not in the market. So it's sort of irrelevant that they're there. The problem with that is it makes the card more expensive than it should be, which hurts players. No one's opening just to sell. Even shops have stock that they're not trying to sell. Like they have a whole bunch of alpha commons. They're like, it's like a speculative investment. Like Bronson does it. He buys the bulk, sits on it. That's not in players' hands. My advice, if people are listening, sell your shit. Like, if you're sitting on singles, go look at what you need and put the rest up for sale. There's not enough for sale. I don't think there's enough for sale. I don't think you can, like the real good cards. Like, there's cards you can find easily, but try and find a foil Findel's Fighting Spirit.
But again, you know, playing devil's advocate, as the game ages, as these sets get older, they're meant to get harder to find. As the player base increases, these older heroes, unless we get reprints, they're meant to go up in value. And like you said, that's not good for the new player. But some people like to play collectible card games because they can have these cards and then just through attrition, through new players, through things not getting reprinted, those $2 Blood Rush Bellows are going to be $30 cards.
So I'm not
eventually.
I'm not against that.
I don't know how much they are now.
But I'm not against that. That's part of it. Also, everything we're talking about is pretty much unlimited, which is out of print. Eventually, that's rare to see.
Yeah.
Like we're only gonna get white border reprints. So the black border stuff in the market is all we're gonna get. Yeah. What I'm trying to do is speed up the process of opening some of it because there's still people sitting. You have a couple of boxes you sit on.
Yeah.
Everyone has a couple of boxes they sit on.
People here usually have...
No, but altogether, that's probably it could be a fairly size... It could be 1 to 5% of the total cards are not opened. But
in Australia, yeah, possibly.
But that's a lot. I'm just trying to... Because, by the way, it's very easy for me. I love opening shit. I have a whole channel around it. I'm just going to open stuff. The difference is, everything I open is just going to go in a single store rather than sit in my storage, which is what it's been doing. And the market will speak for itself. If it's selling, I'll just open more. If it's certain things are selling very quickly, we'll try and buy some at 70% of market. Do you know, like it's not complicated. What I want is a churn.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is no one is churning. The only churn is Facebook groups and friends groups. Yes, you'll reach into your collection and grab 2 Blood Rush Bellows if they're spare and sell them to someone who's trying to play Brute. But again, the store should be doing that more than we are doing it because it's their business. Like they should be aware of it. They should be opening stock. If they don't want to, that's fine. I know there's not a lot of money in it, but that's probably the big difference between me and a store. I'm not going to be looking at my weekly, monthly costs and turnover. If I have $50,000 in stock, it can sit there. If I have $100,000 of stock, it can sit there. If it takes me 5 years to get that money back, I'm not doing it to make money now.
And if you don't have a brick and mortar employees, you don't really need to.
Correct. So I'm just going to... I don't know what the value
is. Brick and mortar stores have to churn if they take stuff on. It's very hard for brick and mortar
stores
to
should be doing both.
Yeah.
Brick and mortar stores should also be putting a case aside of every product for 5 years.
Yeah, if they get in that position,
and
they
then,
should.
Then make an event around like WTR draft. In 5 years, it's going to be a crazy good event to go to, right?
Yeah.
And it'll be probably $100 a ticket.
Yep. For Unlim. I believe
But
it.
the shop paid $5 a pack, $4 a pack. That's you should be doing that too. That's what I'm doing with the singles. I'm going to put all the singles in, because we've seen it. Finals Fighting Spirit, Wounded Bull was nothing. It's suddenly worth 10x. Harder finals are like $400. Ivor Fiddy is 500 Aussie. There's someone buying right now. Ivor Fiddy foil, $500. It'll go up all by itself. But the only reason it goes up is supply demand. If there's no churn, if there's nothing being sold and bought, it's all speculative.
Yeah, of course.
Nothing matters till someone sells something. It's like, wait, shit, it sold for 500.
And you need a player base for that churn.
I think we have enough of a player base to have a single store.
Yeah. Well, we do. I think it's great what you're doing because you're giving people options, right? Some people only prefer, like, you have
One-to-one.
Or some people only go to one LGS a week, one Armory a week, and they will only spend money at that store.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just the way it is. And you have other people, they're comfortable to buy online if they know that shop is a brick and mortar. I know other people with Magic, they'll never go near a Facebook page. They don't trust auctions. They don't trust Facebook groups. They stay away from them like the plague. And then we know other people, like our mutual friend, mate, if he can save 5 cents on a card, he'll freaking ship it in from bloody Uzbekistan on eBay if he can save 5 cents on a card.
And that's what I see lacking is that consumer that's probably because I'm like that. My first interaction, I want it to be seamless. I'd prefer a store. Store has an ABN. They're liable. You can there's trading laws. There's 10-day money backs. I could refund my credit card. It's all that stuff. That's important. And I think relying on the Wild West style, backpack trading style will never grow the game to Magic heights because Magic has all the avenues. It's huge. Might have started with backpack traders, but there's Magic single stores with $10 million worth of stock, right? And they make a lot of money every month, but they can't sell $10 million worth of stock in a month. That's not the point. It's this big cash cow. They make $1 million a month and then they spend $500,000 of it back to refresh the collection.
Yep.
That's what I'm trying to do. I don't have any interest in time, if I'm still around in 10 years and Fluke and Box is a brand in 10 years, my business will be worth millions. They'll be, because I would have opened millions. I'm already opening 6 figures a year in stock. She's going to go into a business. If you're funneling in stock, there's a whole bunch of yellow sigils that may not sell, right? But that's not the point.
Yeah.
Now, at some point, there's a deck that can only play yellows, and suddenly yellow sigil is meta, and it goes from doesn't sell to 3 copies for 99 cents, and I sell hundreds of dollars worth, and it's pure profit because those commons actually in our system have cost 0 because we're allocating cost to rares, foils, majestics. Commons are pretty much rubbish. So if you sell them, it's just pure profit, on the system. We're going to try and recoup, and all single stores do this. You're recouping costs on your majestics and legendary. That's where the box costs $100. You're trying to get back $80, $90 worth in the high end. That'll sell quick. And everything else is residual. That'll come back slow,
So when can people, are they live now?
No.
Okay, when's it going to be live? Have you?
I don't have a date.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no point putting that kind of pressure on because we need to launch it.
Yep.
And then we need to test, make sure all the products work. We've had some issues because you're working off databases and then there'll be one typo in one line and it doesn't update the stock. And we figured out yesterday, we were uploading, it was taking 20 minutes. It's because it was pinging for images every time we updated the list. So it's now a 60-second exercise to upload the 4,000 products because it doesn't need to recheck the image for a red sigil. Do you know what I mean? If we find a mistake, it's got the wrong image, we can fix that later. But it's little stuff, just tweaking. Because again, we're doing this from scratch. It's not binder pods where we could have just put stock in and started. I don't think that's talking about binder pods before we end. Binder pods basically aggregate all the data, all the sales, and they charge a premium.
A lot of money.
They assign your pricing. But I also think that's fucking terrible for the market.
They assign your price, but I think you have a set levels.
Yeah, but they're still pooling the data. Let's basically say it's TCG player. You pick if it's low, mid, average, whatever. There's options. The problem with that is TCG player gets manipulated all the time, first of all. Second, I don't think you should run a business like that because it's greedy. So TCG player or binder pos is going, oh, Finals Fighting Spirit is trending. Let's up the price. I don't want to do that.
So how are you going to set your pricing? Care to
99
divulge?
cents for commons.
No. Like just
For 3 of them.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm just like overall.
No, I'll divulge because it'll probably be visible anyway.
How will your pricing be set?
So everything is preset. Rares, commons, even majestics. Then we flag cards we know are not normal, like a sink below. Because it's a common doesn't make it a common. So, but there's way less of those than actual commons in the game. Same as rares, you flag the ones that are important.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're doing, the philosophy behind it or the idea is if we're making a profit, we're not going to go jack prices up.
But what price tracker will you use
Not using
to
a price
move your
tracker.
prices? Okay, well, let's just...
What I'm saying is we're calculating the EV of the boxes we open.
Right.
We need to sell the legendaries average this. Now, obviously...
So your price is to say on a Blood Rush Bellow, let's just keep with that card. Is that going to move every day depending on the algorithm? No.
What we'll do, let's say we have 50 Blood Rush Bellows, we'll list 10 with a reserve so that if they, boom, sell out in one day. Because, by the way, we're setting up stuff to completely ban scalpers off the website. So if you come and buy 10 cards off me, I'll ban you for life. It's like there'll be a disclaimer, you're not here to fucking flip. You buy it to play with. So if you're buying 3 of any card, it'll get flagged. Like you can buy 6 because you want 2 copies. I'm not trying to like ban people for the sake of banning them. But if a specific account keeps buying,
just see a pattern.
Let me explain why. It's because you're trying to rip me off. You're going, oh, John, you put the pricing wrong. I'm going to buy them and sell them for more. Well, fuck you. I'm not your charity. Like this is for players mainly. It's not for investors. It's not. And I know I can get around the scalping thing. I just ban. It's very easy. If I think you're buying more cards than one person needs to play with. But Blood Rush Bellows would be $2 if that's the market price. If they sell way too quickly compared to our average, it'll flag. We'll go check. If they've gone up to 5, we'll put them up to 5. What we're not doing is...
So you're just going to you're going to look at just say whatever it is, TCG, whatever, set it at $2.
Correct.
And then just leave it there until...
We're not going to go back and check every day.
Yeah, yes.
The only way we'll check is if our stock is selling... Like, what
So
we
there
want
won't
is
be a robot
we want to
running-
sell to the next person that wants Blood Rush Bellows.
Right.
So what we don't want is anyone to grab 10 of them at once. Now, if 10 of them sell real quick to 5 people, we're like, crap, that sold quick. We get maybe it's just a meta choice. Maybe skirmish.
So it's in a way, this kind of reminds me of the old school LGS where you'd, I loved it, right? I loved going into my LGS back in the day when I first got back into Magic in 2013. All the LGSs were doing this before they went into POS and Crystal Commerce and all that, Binder POS or whatever it is. That, cards would have an actual dollar value on a sticky on them.
Yep.
There were no games. Now you go into any single store.
They don't. There's no price.
There's no price.
They check.
They check and they sell it to you. Back in the day, and even then, we didn't have good price trackers either.
Yeah.
So, you'd look at something and go, oh, wow, I think that's a pretty good deal.
The information was slower.
Yeah, and you'd look at something and go, wow, that's a pretty good deal. And then, or vice versa, you go, oh, that's a bit high. So it was swings and roundabouts. But that store might only refresh those sticky labels once a month.
Yeah.
Because it was a labor-intensive thing to do. I'm assuming this is sort of like your store setup, your online store.
By the way, we can automate it.
Yeah.
We're choosing not to. It's
Gotcha.
for the benefit of everyone.
So you're
Because
going-
we could have just done binder pos, $100 a month, and it would be up already.
So you're going old school.
It's not just old school. I am going to make sure we're looking after players.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we will make money.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like I said, the 99-cent commons is how we're going to make money. That's basically it. Every 100 commons that sells, $100 pure profit. So every 300 commons we sell. It's a high rate for commons, but it's lower than pretty much everyone else. We're going to sell decks. We're going to sell master sets. Like if you buy a master set, I'm selling you all the yellow common play sets. Mm-hmm. We make some money because I'm charging you for them. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. Also, I'm pretty switched on. We'll make money by when we do deck boxes. When you buy a placer and it's a Fluke and box folder. That's how I make money, because I'll charge you $30 for the folder that cost me $2.
Yep.
It's no problem. That's like everyone knows that's how it works.
Yeah.
Start selling dice on there that's Fluke and box branded. There's good money in that. I don't need to make money on the one Command and Conquer that a new player buys. I don't. That's not how I'm looking at it. So if its market is 160 and we're 170, that's fine, because safety. You can use a credit card. You can use Afterpay, that kind of thing. That's the idea. But I'm not going to go $200 because the card is $150 on TCG. No, sell it. Turnover.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I think you partner with the right person.
Oh, he's a freak.
He's such a good guy. Look, I've been friends with him for nearly 10 years.
We've done the numbers. It's not going to take us long to have to put it in an actual location and maybe hire people, because it can be quite labor.
I think out of all the people that you may or may not have wanted to get into bed with over the 18 months, I think he's a good pick. I think he's a good pick. He's a great guy.
It's his idea.
He's got a good standing in the community.
He also does it already.
He's smart as shit.
He does it for himself already.
Yeah, of course. He's been buying and selling stuff.
Do you understand how excited he is to have this much to play with?
Yeah.
Also, I'm basically gonna give him an allowance. Go, hey, here's $5,000 for the month. Buy some stuff. He's such a good person at sniffing out deals.
Oh, dude. Hell yeah, he'll love that. Let's just quickly touch on Calling New Zealand before we wrap it up.
I'll be there.
Yes. We will both be there. We are going to take Funder on the road, and we are going to start reaching out to people this week, right?
Kale McCreath, where are you?
So, if you get random Facebook group messages pop up with John and myself, we'd really like to
mute it immediately, but then check it every couple of hours.
Yeah, we're going to tee up time. Ideally, we'd like to film prior to the calling, whether it be Thursday, Wednesday, Friday.
We could definitely say Thursday to Sunday we're there.
Yes.
Small chance of Wednesday, but if we're there on a Wednesday, we're going to be very busy on the Wednesday.
Wednesday will probably be with LSS. But yeah, so, like I said.
But also, if you're in New Zealand and have a recommendation of an episode you'd like to see, hit us up. We're happy for recommendations.
There's a few community people like the Carl McCrease, Matt Rogers, Manny's, Melody Likes. Like there's people, we want to reach out to. Kiki would be good as well. Like there's people in the community.
Guys, this happened in World, so I'm gonna say it bluntly now. Just because we don't get to you doesn't mean we don't love you.
Oh, 100%.
We cannot, there's not enough time to interview everybody in New Zealand that we would want to. So we want to talk to you at the calling and stuff, but if you don't get a message, don't think it's not even a priority list, we promise. The priority list is James White to get on Funder, and a couple of LSS key staff that, for the greater good of the community, maybe you've never heard from them before. We want to get them and ask them questions and do our thing. And this is like stuff that is still early stages of the game. It's nice to get these people on camera early days. Tune back 10 years, see James White, what he said 10 years ago, you know what I mean? But don't take things personally, please. It's not,
And I'm assuming...
We will not... Even the names you just listed, we probably don't have time for everyone you just listed. Like, if they all say yes. Or some people won't be able to make it on the day. They're busy, whatever. But please don't take it personally. Also, we'll be in New Zealand again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming we're going to set up off-site, close to the venue.
That's something... So when I look at accommodation, the idea will be... Either we room together and get an apartment, 2-bedroom with a lounge room, because the lounge room is all we need.
Yep.
Or if LSS say we can use it for 2 days, then we use it. But I don't want to even ask, because it's... Like, I remember when I went, they had to put stuff away. So what you don't want is a stream of people. Unless they're planning to have people because they're hosting a calling and they've tidied up shop and they're sort of like... Because the way the room is set up, there was plenty of room when I went where the podcast wouldn't be in the way. So there's room. Yeah. But what you don't want is to inconvenience them. Someone have to go put promo... Because there's a secret section you'll never go into, the testing section where like art and testing is. That's like one half of the building. The other half is open. It's where Newson resides. But there'll be promos for armories that aren't revealed yet. And, it's not like they're...
So, I'd prefer not to ask to film people that don't work for LSS inside LSS.
Neither.
right? We can do that in our own
But you're saying
place.
at the calling venue or not? I think it'll be in a hotel.
In a
which
hotel.
I'll try. The idea is walking distance across the road from the calling. That's. I'll start looking.
Yeah, we'll start looking. So we're going to iron everything out.
By the way, the New Zealanders, you guys watch. Recommend something. Tell me where we should stay.
we've got about
they'll
6
know
weeks.
the venues. Yeah. You know where the venue is. Tell us what's good.
But that's our plan is we're going to be there. We'll bust out some episodes, hopefully a bunch with LSS and then
We're playing the event, so
Kiwi community. Yeah.
there's also maybe small chances like some special Tall Timmy Fluke side event we're pitching to LSS, see if they even accept. Look out for that one.
That'd be cool.
I want to do me, Paul, and Philip Mackay team blitz event with some high stakes so people can verse us. Maybe the Armory on the Thursday night, we go to Marnie's store. He can run that for
He's
us.
not in Auckland.
But he's not that far.
Isn't he?
No, I went because when I was in Auckland, he's a local. It's local.
Oh, really?
10 minutes or whatever.
Oh, shit. Okay. I
It's in a
thought
shopping centre, the big flagship car.
that's not his one, is it?
It's where he was working.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought he owned a store out in Hamilton
He
or
owns more
something.
than one, or definitely is involved because he's either owns card. Is it card merchant? Card merchant, not card market. He either owns it or manages it, but he can get us into the local one.
Yep.
Because I went there for the draft the day before the big event. He was there. He was running it. He was definitely in charge. So
Wow.
Marnie, let us know if we can run a event on Thursday night. I'd love to do it at Marnie's store, like the night, like even a Thursday night.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Heck, maybe we can put the podcast in the shop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a few hours before, people could come chat with us. The little bit of background noise doesn't hurt.
I think it's good. I'd like to do an episode or two. We'll talk to Brendan.
I
if
mean,
we can get
Marnie's
something.
on my list to get on camera. I love Marnie.
Yeah, Marnie's great.
Good looking chap.
Yeah. Yeah, he's high energy.
Also,
he's
a
good.
very good YouTube channel, underrated. People may not know. So we would love him to shout that out.
Fab Maniac? Yeah.
I mean, he's been around for ages.
He has.
There's a lot of gameplay in paper stuff. Some people prefer to watch that than the TTS or Telstra. So boring to watch the gameplay. Like We Make Best is done well because of the commentary, but it's actually boring to watch unless you edit it and speed it up. It's very boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
Well, that's
see you
been
there.
awesome. 2 hours, just like that.
Goes quick.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone. Stay safe.
See you in the new year.
Yeah, we'll see you in the new year. We'll do a couple episodes before, or we'll do a few episodes before.
Before New Zealand, yeah.
Before
For
New
sure.
Zealand.
Well, we still got to get Phil back on. Maybe even Hayden. He can come talk about Kano if he's keen.
Yeah,
Still
sweet.
some locals we want to. Mitch, I want to get Mitch on.
Yeah, I want to get Mitch on too.
Mitch,
That'd be really cool.
where are you? All right, guys. Talk soon.
Cheers.